So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to walk you through the portal and how this dashboard works. So when you first log in, you're going to see this big map in the middle of your screen, and on the top left hand side you're going to see all of your assets. So let's go to the top left hand side. It tells me that I have 50 active units, and all of these widgets are going to filter the screen accordingly. So if I click on battery, it's going to tell me that of my 50 units, 21 are reporting poor, low, or dead batteries. 23 are displaying alarm statuses, and 12 are telling me that the GPS signal might or could be improved. Okay. Now, you can add as many filters as you'd like to show the relevant information for you. When that happens, again, the map automatically shows you only the information that you've selected. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and clear these. I'm going to reset my filters. And here I have a list of all of my assets. Now you're going to see these little icons here. We've gone through a lot of effort to make this as easy to use for you. So we want you to be able to see all of the information without having to read it. If you need to read it, there are tooltips that show up above the icon, but eventually you'll know exactly what these icons all mean. So here, for example, I have 3 icons. One is battery, one is GPS signal, and the other one is my alarms, which in this case, it says that motion has gone off. Okay. So you have these 3 so that at a glance you can see exactly what's going on with your assets. When you select an asset, it's going to start jumping up and down on the screen. Okay. Now if you move over to the right, you're going to see Street View, which I'm sure many of us have used, Google Street View. It's going to show you the nearest address to that GPS location, and then a little below that you're going to have the name of the asset, the account that it's in, the group that it's in, the model number of that asset, the last report, its battery status, which in this case is 0, but you'll have the voltage and the percentage. The percentage is more useful to you. And of course this cool little bar to kind of give you a visual of that. And of course some of the icons that you saw on the left hand side. So here's your GPS assisted, and whether your geofence is set or not, and of course motion. When motion is active and the sensor has tripped, you're going to see this little guy running and the icon red. When everything's okay, the little guy's going to be standing still and the icon will be green. So let's go over to the first tab. The first tab is location history. Here in location history, you're going to have a similar map, but you're also going to have a small row here that shows you information relevant to that point in time. You can select the point in time on a calendar that you want to display from start to end. I'm going to go ahead and select an account that will have some relevant information. And immediately as I select the information on the map, it automatically shows those dots. It automatically loads those dots. Now you also have directional waypoints that tell you in which direction these points were collected, in which direction the asset was traveling at that time. So let's go over to sensor history. Here in sensor history you'll have battery. This particular device has temperature on it as well, so you'll be able to see all those temperature points and the times that it was collected. If you need to zoom into a point, you can, and it'll zoom in and show you that information. If you need to zoom all the way back out, you can hit that little zoom out button, and of course you'll have the calendars here to select your dates so that it displays the information that you need. Okay. Now if your sensor has, if your device has different sensors, then you'll be able to select it from this list, and it'll show you the relevant graphs for those sensors. So if we go to alarm history shows you exactly what you think it would show you. It's a history of all of the alarms that have occurred on the device. So in this particular case, I'm looking at March 25th, 24th, 23rd, 22nd in the reverse order, and it tells me when these alarms happened. Sometimes you're going to need this when you have to play detective and you have to see when something occurred. The dashboard shows you the last time something happened, but you might need to see when something happened in the past. Okay, so we make that available to you here. We can move on to the next tab, which is the settings history, and it's accessible here on this drop down or down here. Again, we want to make this as easy to use for you as possible. So if you have an account with multiple users in it and settings are constantly being changed, and you want to see which managers changed which things, you can go here and see what has been changed for this particular asset. Geofences is a particularly nice function. I'm going to go back to my main account here, and I'm going to show you geofences. So the geofence, I can give it whatever name I'd like. I can add it to a specific group. In this particular case, I have one group in my account. But if you have multiple groups, you can select them from that drop down. You can give it any color you'd like. And you can select which assets you want to put in it. Okay, so let me cancel this. I'll go back to my dashboard. Let's go to geofences here, and you can see that there's one created here. Okay, now if I were to add a new geofence, I could. There's another group in this account. I could grab it from here. He has multiple assets in this account, so I can select which assets I want to select from here. And when I'm done, I just press save. I could draw any shape or size that I want, and you can have as many geofences as you would like. That's a pretty cool feature. Next is the asset settings. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to spend a little bit of time. You can change the name of your device to anything that means something to you, and you can also change its description. Okay, if you have multiple groups, you can select them from here as well. And of course, you can change the icon to whatever you'd like. Here's the important part. You have two pings. There's a standard ping and there's the alarm ping. Now, if you forget what I'm saying, you can always select this little tooltip, and it'll give you some information, but I'll explain it. So a standard ping is like a heartbeat. It's going to tell you when the device, where the device is, based on a schedule that you set here. So by default, it's set to 6 hours or 4 pings per day, and it's going to give you its location and the status of your asset at that time, no matter whether it's moving or if it's not moving. But then there's a second type of ping. There's the alarm ping, and that one is based off of any of the sensors that are attached to your equipment. So in this case, our equipment has a motion sensor, and as long as this device is detecting motion, the equipment will report in every 5 minutes. So if I'm taking a trip from here to New York, every 5 minutes of that trip, it's going, as long as I'm moving, it's going to ping on the map. Now, if between now and the time that I get to New York, I make a pit stop and I stop for 2 hours, then the equipment will stop reporting because it is no longer detecting motion. If I stay on that pit stop for 8 hours, within 6 hours, it'll give me a standard ping. Okay. Same thing happens for geofence. You know, if my parameters are set so that I want to be notified when my equipment is outside of a geofence, then as long as I'm outside of a geofence, the equipment will report every 5 minutes. When it's back inside of the geofence, the alarm goes off and turns off, and the standard ping kicks back in. So you have a lot of flexibility here. I want to show you that you can change the reporting frequencies as much as you like. So we say that our equipment lasts 6 months at 4 pings per day. Of course, if you change this to something higher, like every minute or every 2 minutes, you're not going to have that 6-month battery life. It's going to be a little bit less, but it has a big battery that fits in the palm of your hand. So you're still going to have a very high resolution, and it is completely waterproof, remember. So you can change this out to your heart's content, and get the kind of information you need from your device. If motion isn't something that you need, you just need 1 ping per day just to make sure that your stuff is there. You can turn the motion sensor on and off, and use it accordingly. So I'm not going to save the settings for this, but I am going to go to asset notifications, and this is the most important part, really, because you can have all this information here, and if you aren't being communicated of this critical data, then you won't know what's going on. And of course, we understand that you're not going to be accessing this portal all the time. We understand that. So we made the system with the ability to send you text messages and email alerts if need be. So here is where you would add any specific group or any users that might be in the account. You can specify which assets need to be added to the notifications panel and what sensors. I can select battery, geofence, or motion. The more sensors you have, the more options you'll have, of course. And then let's just use the battery as an example. Let's say that I only want to be notified when my battery is low. I can make that happen. So by selecting low here, I will receive a text message when the battery reaches low battery life. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my profile. And here in the profile, I have I can change my name, my last name, my email, and I can put in my cell phone number if I want to receive text messages. I can change the language from English to Spanish, time zone, and of course the units, metric to standard. This part is very interesting. So much like notifications, what we saw a few moments ago, those were notifications for that particular tracker. What we're looking at here are notifications for me as a user. You'll see that I don't have any notifications set up right now. I'm going to add a notification, and these are all of the groups and assets that I can add a notification for. When I select a group, I can select what sensor I want to be notified on. This particular tracker, as you can see, has a variety of sensors on it. I can select any of these, and temperature, for example, will be out of range. If the panic button is pressed, then the panic button will switch. Or if I just want to know if anything happens, I can select it here. Okay. In my reports, when you save a report, and we'll go to the reporting tab in just a second. When you go to the reports, any reports that are custom made for you or that you've made can be saved here for future access, and if you need to delete them, you can. Okay. And as you can see, when you hover over these little icons, it'll tell you, it'll take you where you need to go, and it'll tell you what it is. So here we're in notifications, and here we're in manage account. So let's go to manage account. And if you're a distributor or you have an enterprise account, you'll, even if you have a normal sized account, you'll have this this pane, and this module essentially allows you to view all of your assets, but it's going to show you a little bit more information than what you were seeing before. This one isn't necessarily as pretty or as user-friendly, but it's going to show you your serial numbers, the settings that these are set at, and the last time they reported. And this is where you go to add assets to your account. Okay. So let's start from the beginning. This is the name of your account. You can change the name to whatever you'd like. If your account has sub-accounts enabled, then here is where you can add new accounts. And those accounts can have whatever rights you would like them to have. This is the groups. This is where you can create any groups that you can, whether it's a user group or a geofence group or an asset group. That all happens here. Assets is what we were looking at just a moment ago. These are the geofences. Any geofences that exist in your account will be visible here. So once you created a geofence in the module that I showed you before, and it gets saved, the geofence will be saved here. You can delete them if you'd like. Here's all the users. You can add or remove users as you'd like. When you create a new user, you can set them up in any of the groups in your account. You can give them a specific role. You have the user, the account manager, distributor, and of course all the relevant information to add them into the account. All notifications is the third place where you're going to see notifications for the account. So the first thing that we saw was notifications for one device. Then we saw notifications for one user. Now we're seeing notifications for the entire account. So any notifications that exist will be visible here. Okay? And of course you can add them or remove them as you'd like. And now, last but not least, we're going to go over to the reporting tab. And one thing I want to emphasize is there's a few reports that you have access to here. If any of the reports don't match the criteria that you're trying to get, or the data that you're trying to receive from this portal don't appear in the reports, let us know. We'll make a report for you. Now, keep in mind that we track a lot of weird things. We track a variety of different items from the medical industry to the heavy equipment space to honeybee colonies. So every operation has different information that they're looking to gather. We've gathered a handful of the reports that mean the most to a large group of industries, but of course every client has their own specifications. So you let us know what kind of report you need and we'll make it for you. Once you have that information, you'll be able to export it via CSV, and you can view it in Excel, or you can just view the information here. Okay, and that is the end of this demo. If you ever want to go back to the dashboard, you can hit that dashboard button here and view all of your items. If you want to go back to the map view that you were looking at before, you can. Just hit the dashboard again, and it goes back to the map view. One last feature, actually, that I'd like to show you before I officially end this demonstration is the list view. When you have a lot of accounts, location isn't a lot of units. Location isn't always the most important thing. You might want to see the status of all of these items without having to see them on a map. For that reason, we implemented the list view. The list view gives you all of the icons with all of the important information that you need to see, again, at a glance. That's the important thing. So if I were to select all of my accounts, the list view is going to load up, but it's going to be for all of the devices. Okay, and as you can see, the more things your account has, the more information, the more icons you'll see, and when you hover over it, you'll see what that information is. Okay. So if you have any questions, or if you gather any questions during this demo, by all means, let me know. Shoot me an email, and I'd be happy to answer them. Thank you.